Now I can see chat and everything. So today I just want to talk a bit about load shedding and what that is. And whenever you see someone like Tempest or like myself mention, hey, stream is going to be a little bit late, there's a lot of load shedding going on at the moment, what that means and where that came from. So in 2008 in South Africa, they basically, hey Thunder, welcome. In 2008 in South Africa, they basically ran the demand for electricity exceeded what we could supply. So literally, if you took all of our power stations during peak hour and you switched all of them on and you ran them at 100%, that there wasn't enough electricity in the country to meet the demand. So what they came up with is a strategy called load shedding. Now what load shedding is like for 2 hours a day, at random intervals during the day, they switch off various different parts of South Africa. Doing well, Thunder, doing well in yourself. Just talking about load shedding and what that means so that I can clip this and people can sort of understand when Tempest, myself, or anyone from South Africa mentions, hey, stream is a little bit delayed due to load shedding, or what that means in general and how it affects us and that sort of stuff. So basically 2008, this was supposed to last for about, they said, 2 years max we're going to have load shedding. It started off as just being a thing, it was twice a week for a few months, and then it went progressively worse. They did release a little schedule that you can go to their website for, but you had to decode what area you were in and that sort of stuff, and most people didn't. We sort of just accepted it. You'll be working at work at one stage and then the power will go off and you look at your watch and you'll see, oh, it's a round number, it's 8 o'clock or it's 10 o'clock or whatever the case may be. And you'll be like, okay, we got load shedded. It's going to be 2 hours and power will come back on again. Cool. Then at the end of 2 years, they didn't really do anything to address it. They didn't sign any new contracts to build more power stations. They didn't do any major repairs of current power stations. Apparently there wasn't enough budget. So what happened then is they went and they looked at the register and they were like, okay, we can now load shed you at any time. So it wasn't just 2 days a week. You can be on stage 1 or 2. Oh, and that's the other thing. They divided it into stages. How bad is the load shedding going to be? So to give you an example of the stages is if we're at stage 1, that's more or less 2 days a week. Like what I mentioned before is more or less stage 1. You get some off days and you get some days that you're lucky and it doesn't load shed you because it'll load shed 2 a.m. for instance. So you get some off days and it's relatively chill. But then one they normally jump to is load schedule 2. Which is just about, for me in my areas, every day there's a load shed. Yeah, some days it's in the mornings, some days it's in the evenings, etc. Then you get stage 3, which is about twice a day. Stage 4, still twice a day, but there's more days that you've got it twice a day. Stage 5, it's 2 or more times. It could be up to 3 times a day that you sit without electricity. So that's 6 hours a day. No electricity. And this has been going on now for 14 years in South Africa. Bambi man, welcome. Always nice to see you. Let's see if I can do I can't really do a heart on the Quest controller, but yeah, welcome. So we've had this now for 14 years, and you think that's a long time to sort of adapt and to get used to it, but it still catches a lot of us off guard. Because what they would do is they'll change your definition of where your area is. It constantly gets changed. Like for instance, my area, when I moved here, the load shedding schedule was 100% accurate. And that was only accurate for the first 3 months, and then they changed the area. And I didn't even have this area listed for another year before I can go and I can add it to the schedule. There's even apps that people started to release that you can use the GPS coordinates and the addresses to make it easier, and it sends you a little reminder and it goes, hey, no power, prepare 15 minutes from now, there's no power. Preparing for it's also not the case because there's not much you can do. You can try and get like huge big UPSs, and for home use, that's not going to be worth it. Because you to look at my little 2-bedroom house, even then I need to get like a UPS that's 20 to 30,000 rand if I would go and buy one, not build one. You can build them, which isn't worth it. Might as well just wait for the 2 hours and get it finished, And I don't know if this ISP will actually have internet if I supply internet to the router for those 2 hours, because a lot of our ISPs, because lithium-ion batteries, the demand for lithium-ion batteries like skyrocketed. Criminal syndicates started to target cell phone towers and ISPs and that sort of stuff to go in and steal the lithium batteries out of the towers. So you have no idea if your internet's going to stay up during load shedding, if you supply power or whatever the case. It's just, who knows. But that's home use. So what did businesses do? Businesses immediately started buying generators left, right, and center. So the price of generators skyrocketed for like the first 2 years. It got back down to normal eventually. But you have to make sure that it's fueled. You have to service them regularly. You have to literally start that generator every day to make sure it's working. And very few people did do this. So often, like, you go to your business and power will trip and the generator won't turn on. And most businesses, like our business, we can't afford it. So we're a non-profit. So I've got a big UPS that can carry on my server for like 45 minutes. After that, power switches off. So you just have to make sure that you've got other tasks you can do at home, or at work, like filing or whatever the case may be. Hopefully, you guys now you know a little bit more about load shedding, what that means, why, if I'll sometimes post, hey, I can't stream tonight, I've got load shedding, or why Tempest might do the same thing, or why, we might actually just be playing VR chat and then disappear. It's all load shedding.
So this is going on for 14 years now, and people are
14
trying
years.
to help themselves in every way they can, and they can afford, which even resorts to stealing backup batteries from the cell phone towers or ISP nodes.
Yeah, so they don't steal it.
Honestly.
They steal it to resell it, because you can use those batteries with solar panels, and they don't steal it for themselves. They actually steal it to resell it on Facebook Marketplace and those sort of places. So you get people that does actually have the means, but they see these cheaper batteries that they can buy, and then they buy them. So it doesn't help the poor. It doesn't really help the rich either. It's just bad news all around.
So, but I guess over the years you some sort of get used to it, that it happens, but there's no regular schedule where you really can adapt to that, and plan ahead. This time I won't have power or whatever.
Yeah, so there's
area codes changing.
Yeah, there's like a schedule, but what you'll find with load shedding is it's not like 100% of the year that you get it. So what will happen is we might have load shedding for like a month, 2 months, or even just a week at a time. When it's done, they might decide, hey, we're going to shuffle the schedules around again. And then you don't know when the next one strikes, and then you have to go, okay, my schedule changed again. Let's figure out what area I'm in. Well, at least that's for KZN. Gauteng might be a little bit different. And I think Gauteng, they're now at 2.5 hours in some areas for load shedding. And they also shed more in the evenings than during the days.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a small UPS myself to protect, network storage and backup media. But even with these low power devices, a good UPS with a lead battery that is built in, it can power it for the entire day. I can maybe get 2 hours out of it, but this is like only a router and a low power NAS. So I don't want to know what kind of batteries you need or how many batteries you need to keep going. Like before, I mean, you would still need to decide what devices you badly need powered.
Yeah, like for me, it's unfortunate, but I would love to have this power to my computer and to my routers, especially if I can get internet access in that period, because that'll make my life like infinitely better. But you can't always get that, so it is what it is. It's just the actual price of it. You can get little UPS router, little battery backups just um, for your routers. I still need to test those and see if that's a solution that can last like 2 hours. But yeah, even then, you don't have electricity for your TV or your phone or your desktop computer or anything like that. So you sort of sit in a dock. Now, Sudo, for instance, Sudo does have some backups in place. I don't want to share this because I don't know if it's public knowledge or not. But like he has quite a good backup solution in place, so he doesn't get hit.
Have people started using more home generation, like solar panels and battery backup systems at home, or is that simply too expensive?
If you're middle class, okay, so, oh God, I can't even say middle class because technically I'm middle class in South Africa if you look at the margins. So if you're upper middle class, you can get like full solar panels installed, but it's going to cost you like 190 to 250,000 Rand to do so. And that'll make sure that you've got like solar and a battery backup, so you won't ever like get offline. You can also just get battery backups. But you really have to be like upper middle class to be able to afford that.
No.
It's just too much money.
Yeah,
and it's not like it's more expensive in SA. I think it's the same price in Germany. It's just that our wages are a bit lower. Depends on the field you're in.
Yeah, and then you have to keep in mind certain laws regarding power generation. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think here in Germany there's a law, because the government has agreements with the power suppliers, that there's a guaranteed demand that if you generate power at home yourself, basically your power company sells your own power back to you, in a sense. So it's not like you're totally independent there.
Oh, so you still
can
basically
put it into the general network, but they have to take it from you, but at what margin?
okay.
And I'm not sure, but I heard that in the UK, for example, there's taxes that make it ridiculous again, but would need
Cheers,
to
Kevin.
ask a person from the UK there. But yeah.
Yeah, so they want to now introduce a law because apparently they're a bit upset that they're getting no taxes from people generating power at home. So they want to introduce a law where it'll be an extra tax if you decide to disconnect yourself from the grid and generate your own power. Never mind selling it back to the grid. I don't think we've ever actually had anything happen there where they'll buy it back. There's this official word on that, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, what you can do is you can get some solar panels, then you need a battery generator to store the power and invert it and everything. And if you plug that into your wall socket, that will provide the power to devices in your apartment. And
you should never do that.
For electricians.
Yeah, because like if they turn the power back on and it leaks back in, it's out of phase and it literally blows the inverter. So the poor guy working outside that goes and flips the switch can literally die from it.
Yeah,
you should never feed back.
Tell the power company that you have it. You can do that. You just need to inform the power company.
Yeah.
That you are doing this. That they know.
From a wall socket.
That there is still power on the system. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to full isolate. So if you're generating, even like if your business or your company, you've got petrol generators outside, you have to have a full isolation switch on your circuit breaker. And then the isolation switch it's either taking power from your side, middle is neutral, and then the other side is if you get it from Eskom or a service provider.
As far as I know, you don't need to do that here, but I'm not sure if you're doing that they don't need to install something in Fusebox. I don't think so, but they need to at least know that if circuit breakers are off in your apartment, there's still power coming in as long as this is plugged in.
No, I can get a generator, but the problem with a generator is it's also costly. I can't afford that anyway. But then it's also loud. So here I stay with. It's almost like apartments. It's like people staying next to each other.
Yeah.
And I can't run a generator because that'll wake the whole neighborhood up every time I have to run the generator to get electricity. Go figure. So that's not an option for me. That's the cheapest way to do it.
I thought about. See, because there are projections and it's expected that here in Europe the power grid will get worse. Because you're not getting the power where it's generated, like North Sea down to south of Germany, because people don't want power lines in their neighborhood, so we don't get it down to where it's most needed. And yeah, well, change in demand and everything. So it is expected that the power grid in Europe will be getting worse. That is also like why I looked into, well, it would be nice to have a few solar panels that are mobile, that you can just fold open, that are like briefcases, a backup generator in the middle, like a battery generator, so that you can at least get some power for your smartphone, for a small laptop, and really low power devices, but that keep you connected. No problem. I wonder if the people in chat have any experience with this. I think even in the US, for example, they also have blackouts, brownouts at times. They were, in the news. That things
I don't know.
And in general, the power grid's getting more volatile.
Yeah, due to the fires that they had over there. I don't know if they actually had massive brownouts and stuff, to be honest. But guys, in chat, feel free to post and I will answer any questions. So the one thing that you can get, I'll send you a link for it. I don't know if it's made its way to Germany yet, but it hasn't made its way to South Africa yet. You should get these big inverters now. It's about a meter by a meter high, and it's filled with lithium batteries. So it's got like an insanely high capacity. And you can plug it into the wall and it gives you like 3 sockets and 2 USBs and a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to get one of those, but they're insanely priced. They're out of my reach. That's for sure.
And people are already afraid of lithium batteries because you have these horror stories of them blowing up and anything. Imagine you have a 1 cubic meter box full of lithium batteries. And that's going off.
The problem is most of those come from China. You have no idea what's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the UPS that I use, it has a lead acid battery pack that you can just pull out, swap for a new one. You check it once in a while if it's starting to bloat or whatever, and it checks itself. Like turns off the wall socket, switches over to battery power to see if the capacity is still there, if it works, and then switches back to wall power.
Yeah, so, which is exactly what you need.
Pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some things cost a little bit more than others, and with me, I have to save up. Whenever I want to do upgrade and that sort of stuff, I have to save up a little bit. So I think let's have a look and see who's online at the moment. And then maybe we can play some murder for a little bit. I still need to show Sudan what the sunset looks like. Oh, Dean is on. Yeah, we haven't done murder yet, so we've done like a few of the other ones, but murder isn't one of them yet. I see Victor's on. Victor, you've got a new avatar. That's awesome. A little murder kitten.
By the way, sad to hear that Thunder is doing worse than yesterday, so I guess you really caught a bug there.
Oh no, Thunder. Sorry, dude. Sudan, I personally love load shedding. I can sit in the dark and chill for 2 hours. We don't have a generator for backup, but the noise is sometimes not worth it. Yeah, we do have a generator for backup. Yeah, it's you sort of improvise and you adapt to it. You get used to it, especially like at night. So if it like fails for me. The first thing I did is I bought like a very big data bundle for my phone, so I'll rip the phone out, Netflix, watch a movie or something, peace and quiet. I've got battery banks and little LED lights I can plug into there, and I can take a book out and I can sit down and read a book. At night it's not too bad. It's if it's like in the middle of the day that you don't want to do something on a computer and you can't because there's no power.
That reminds me actually of the topic. One big issue for people nowadays in general is how easy it is to get distracted and not feel that to accomplish anything. I got myself a book on the topic that I'm currently reading that wants to explain how this works, the internal triggers, the external triggers, how you can learn how to combat that and get more productive, really. And it's written by an industry insider, companies who design apps and software that is meant to compete for your attention. So maybe when I have enough attention to finish reading this, I can tell you about it a bit.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We can do that as a roundhouse discussion. Which, by the way, guys, I think next week might be the first roundhouse one. Chris did mention that he might be a bit late for that one, but we'll figure it out. It also depends on if I get this USB headset, because this is really, really bad for me. I didn't want to say too much on stream, but it's really bad at the moment.